Whether you are on an adventure or at the downtown cafe, your answers are no more than a sniff away. Dog Training 360's purpose is simple: to teach you why dogs do what they do, as well as the action steps you need to take to have better communication, connection, consistency, and conceivability with your dog.
This week, as we continue our series on puppy development and the way puppies learn and their overall development, we're going to go into this seniority classification period where it's a time of really that's categorized as cutting. They're cutting teeth, they're cutting the apron strings, they're testing boundaries, they're throwing temper tantrums, and they're looking for responses from you. And Shannon, since the fun thing that you've had the opportunity to do is to take Louie through day zero, all the way through that, do you remember this period that he was in when temper tantrums started happening, to him trying to find his own independence but not really knowing what that was, and the things that he did? Do you remember that piece of his little life?
I think it was like I start thinking my dog is starting to be naughty. Because when you have your little puppy and it's younger, you're having fun and they're like go along with what you want them to do. Oh, we do this. Oh, we do that. And then when you get into this next stage, it's like they'll do something totally crazy. And you're like, no, I've had you, Louie, since the minute you were born. And we've never done that before.
Right.
And all of a sudden we think this is the idea. No, that's not it. Right? And you have to be firm with your routines and keeping them on the same schedule or in the same routine that you're on, following the same rules, because they're testing you. And if you let them get away with it, then you'll start having behavior problems. So I remember thinking, I think a lot of clients contact us during this time because they've had a really nice, lovely dog that has gone with them and wanted to be with them and does little cute tricks and learned all its little obedience things, sit and stay and down. And then all of a sudden the dog's naughty. Sneaking away, chewing on stuff. I think a lot of house destruction comes during this time because a dog is, well, I can do this if I want. No, actually, you can't. But people have a hard time saying, no, you can't, because they're like, well, you're just a puppy. And puppies don't know that this is naughty. Like, they do.
There's a lot of intention behind it, for sure. I think that, one thing that helps my clients understand when I tell them it's just this age of cutting the apron strings is we know what that means, right? As our kids grow up, you cut the apron strings as they go to college, if you will, or, you're sending them on their own and spread your wings and fly. And we're still going to be here to clean up the mess, but we encourage that, right? In human life. But as a dog, what that means is you're old enough to start reproducing. You're old enough to start doing things within the pack. So you're either going to be a caregiver, you're going to be a hunter, or you're going to be, the provider, or you're going to be the protector. And so the pack cuts those strings intentionally for survival purposes. And so if you can't accept the cutting of the apron strings, then we're going to kick you out of the pack to build your confidence, and you're going to go find your own female, and you may come back. Sometimes they do come back and say, hey, I found me somebody, and can I come back? Or I get it, now let me come back in and do, my thing. And they kind of slither in, and the pack either accepts them or kicks them out and says, no, really, we've cut the apron strings. You're not a part of this because there's no room for you. And that's still very much so alive and well in our domesticated dogs. And so they're saying we should be cutting apron strings, and I'm going to throw a temper tantrum because what you're trying to do is not cut the apron strings. And we're not allowing some independence, if you will, but also we need to keep them on leash. We need to stop behaviors because that's not what we do in domesticated life. And so it's such a place of confusion, if you will, It's a place of the dog's really not stable, and we need to build confidence in that. I get it. We need to cut the apron strings. You need to become a dog. You need to become you, but it needs to be with manners and respect and
follow the rules of being part of a human pack.
Right.
Because they're not going to cut the strings enough that they would go away start their own life.
Right.
They're in our house. They're our pack. They have to.
They
have to follow those rules.
Right. And I have found that the dogs that are the worst are really the dogs that in the overall big scheme of things would get kicked out of the pack and sent on their way, and they would be fine. So you have to remind them, no, we want you in our family. We want you a part of us. And so I'm going to show you what that looks like. And so this time is a time of really firm, structured obedience. And obedience with distractions. It's a great time to go out and about with them and show them that you're doing this together, not you have to go do it on your own. It's a time of redirecting their connection back into you instead of us trying to create go play by yourself, go outside by yourself. It's no, we're not cutting apron strings that way. And so, it's one of the hardest periods for most people. But when you can understand where the dog is confused and you say, that's fine. I don't care if I ask you to sit and you want to go sit on the pillow, but you still have to sit. And so how we get there isn't necessarily as important as that we get there. And that we don't have to do it the same way every time as long as we get there. And so if we ask for a sit and they go, fine, but I'm going to sit over here, then accept it. Like, just be okay with it because that sit will start transferring other places as we continue to work and expect that when I say sit, I want you to sit. I don't care where right now. I just want you to put your bum on the ground. I want you to have a loose leash walking. I'm fine if you want to sniff a little bit more, but we're not going to pee and you can't pull on the leash. So you can give them what they're asking for, but you have to set those rules and those boundaries with them.
It's like a teenager.
Yeah.
They get a little freedom, but they still have really distinct rules.
Right.
Like,
you can make some decisions.
Go ahead and take the car, go to the mall, be home at 9.
Right. Yep, exactly. And so I think that's, something that we don't really maybe expect from a dog or think that really happens, where in human worlds, we try and make that happen, or you should make that happen so that our kids can be independent, functioning human beings in society. And so we just have to teach our dogs that you need to be a functioning dog in this family, in this society, and follow what the rules are, and they'll grow up independent and they'll mature independently, but still understand the rhythm of the household and be able to be a part of it. So it's kind of like this stage, if you will, is, we've sent our kids off to college and they've got their degree, and I'm just painting the perfect picture that you hope that, right? And then they start their career, and then they get married. And then a family, maybe or maybe not, comes along. But somewhere in that stage, they say, we really want to buy a house, but we can't afford rent and to save for the down payment. So can we move back home? And the kids understand the rhythm of the household and how things work. Doesn't mean that it's the same, but they understand it. And that's the point that we want to get our dogs to. It's this kind of, we're cutting the apron strings, but not really. But you still have to be a mature creature in this home. And that this is the stage that we do that.
And you have to let your dog be its own person.
For sure.
Like they start developing things that they like.
Yeah.
Like when they're a little puppy, they pretty much do whatever, and they're just happy, whatever. But this stage is like they find things that they really like, and that's when they kind of have these tantrums because they really, really like this and they want to keep doing that, and you're like, no, now's not the time for that.
Yeah,
we have to go do this instead. No, but I really like doing this. So you have to find those things your dog like and integrate them into your life so they can be their own person and have these things that they like. I think a lot of people make the mistake of like their dog's chewing up their house and they just say, oh, we'll just go outside then.
Right.
Well, the dog does want to be outside. They like it. It's exciting. They can be on their own, whatever. But then you want him to want to be with you at the same time, but it's just easier to say, we'll just go outside.
Right.
Because the dog wants to be outside, and when it's outside, it's not chewing up your house. You know? So you have to be careful, because sometimes what seems easy can be a mistake.
Right.
And everyone makes mistakes with their dog.
For sure. Absolutely. But I think when you understand the phase that we're in, it's easier to go, okay, no, we can't do that. And start setting those rules and to start training heavier and more than what you did before to help them through this stage. And so as you're going through puppyhood and you hit this age, it's important. Teeth are coming in. They're starting to become old enough to breed. Doesn't mean that they've gone into heat or anything. They're just, that's how nature works. And that they are like genetics and the dog itself says, okay, this is what we should be doing. And so they're battling this domesticated life that they're in with something that's so ingrained into them genetically that you have these temper tantrums that happen because we're working against nature right now through this piece of it, very much so. And so understanding that, where it's a give and take, but there's got to be firm rules and there's got to be expectations. And training needs to happen and distractions need to happen through your training. And even though you may feel really good about being able to train a dog and, this is your 5th dog and whatnot, it really is helpful to have that accountability coach of having a trainer that holds you accountable to help you through. This is the time to train. This is the time to really set these things, and to have a trainer that's at your side and on your side, because the dog is like, nope, I'm not doing that. And so I think that this is the time, if any, I think a trainer is good all along, but this is really the time to help you as a person have somebody that holds you accountable to your training and to what you're doing and the expectations, because it can be daunting.
Well, and you forget and you give in. Like, how many times have you gone to a lesson and said, why did you let your dog do that?
Right.
That's not your rules. And you're like, no, I know. You know what I mean? But that's something we say all the time.
Right.
Why did you do that? Why did you let the dog do that? I know you don't let them do that.
Right.
Oh, well.
And we never have done that.
No.
So what's happening here, But the dogs will catch us at some of our worst emotional places in just a moment or a day and go, got it. Nope, this is my window to
try this, and I'm going to be able to get away with it.
Yeah. And so for sure, it's, a trainer at this stage is really a great thing to have on your side of things to help through that. So understanding what cutting the apron strings looks like and feels like, and that it's normal and that you don't have a terrible dog. But also don't give into it, because they will cut apron. It becomes behaviorally, it becomes 10 times worse.
Big problem.
Yeah. And so holding to, what you say, holding to what your rules are, holding to what your expectations are is really important during this stage. And getting out and training is really important during this stage as well.